Happy weekend, everybody. It's Chance Bartels with the Nostalgic Podblast, going live with you today for a little bit, doing an update. Al Hardy's not with us. Tom Williams isn't with us. Al is visiting his brother today, but we'll be back next week from Al's fabulous studio. So what I'm going to do right now is just give you an update of what we have going on, and we're going to talk about horror movies for a little bit. And I have some good tips for you guys as I wait for some folks to join. I'm Chance Bartels, as you know, and I don't like doing this by myself like some egomaniac, because I know there's other options out there. It's Masters Weekend. There's a lot going on right now that you could be partaking in. In fact, there's a lot better shows than ours, which I'm aware of, with famous people like Adam Carolla and the like that you could be entertained by. So no hubris intended on my part. I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. So that said, I'm going to try to play some music. This is going to be very primitive because I don't have the gear and the wonderful equipment that Al Hardy has and Tom Williams has at his home studio. I'm getting equipment, but right now I'm just using my laptop and my phone. So bear with me. It's going to sound pretty bad. But let's have some background music, and we may have some special callers today. So I'm going to try this. This is an experiment. And I have a trailer I want to play for you. I discovered a really cool movie last night I'd never heard of before. It's called Black Christmas from 1974. Have you seen that movie? I'm going to play you the trailer in a second. Come on down! You're the next contestant on the Nostalgic Podblast. So this movie, Black Christmas, this is really wild, folks. It was released in 1974. It stars Olivia Hussey, you know, the British actress, and Margot Kidder, better known as Lois Lane in the Superman movies and the Amityville Horror. I'd never heard of it, and it's on all weekend. In fact, it was on today as I do this live on Sunday on one of the cable channels. But if you look up Black Christmas, there's two of them. There's one from 2019. You want the one from 1974. And I got to tell you, it's a lot like When a Stranger Calls. Are you familiar with that one, where there's a guy terrorizing a character played by Carol Kane, and he's inside the house making phone calls terrorizing her? And then finally the call is traced, and the authorities alert, he's inside the house! Get out! That same thing happens in this movie. And what's weird about Black Christmas is the director, Bob Clark, he directed A Christmas Story, the classic, a completely different kind of Christmas movie. Now, Black Christmas isn't a slasher. It's not like Silent Night, Deadly Night, where there was like an axe-murdering Santa, really horrible slasher film. This is actually a little more smart. And John Saxon is in it, playing one of the detectives who you may remember from many films. He just passed away. But I really, really like this movie. And Margot Kidder is all young and pretty, and she plays a sorority girl. And these murders happen in a sorority house. And the killer, I don't want to give away. There's a big mystery to it. I'm going to play the preview trailer. It's a very atmospheric movie. But look up Black Christmas. It's really cool. And also, Andrea Martin is in it. A lot of you may not know who she is. She was on SCTV years after this was filmed in 1973, which is a comedy show, kind of like Saturday Night Live. And it was like an improv troupe out of LA. So just a second, I'm going to play the trailer for this movie. It's a really good, scary movie. I hate doing this by myself. Oh, in fact, let's just pretend this is like a regular show, shall we? Getting some viewer text. So Black Christmas. Let's see, what other notes did I have for you guys on that? Oh, Margot Kidder. So her character, she's a sorority girl, and she's on dope. She's like kind of like a heavy drinker, and she's got a substance abuse problem. And man, there is a brutal murder scene of hers. I'm giving one little point away. She does get killed. She gets stabbed to death. and it's a very graphic scene. And God, this movie just blew me away. I thought it was so well done. We have a call coming in. Let's see. The Nostalgic Podblast. Who is this?
Hey, this is your buddy Danny.
Danny Cochran. Gosh, I hope that the viewers can hear you. Can you see me on Facebook Live?
I'm just calling on my phone, so I'm not actually
Okay.
looking at any sort of computer screen or whatever, so I can't answer that question.
This is going to sound so crappy, viewers in the audience, but what are you doing today on this fine Sunday? Can we tell people about your new career?
We can. I am now working at Amazon Fulfillment Center, which is basically in the warehouse, and it's the oddest thing, man. Like I had the thought, like what I do is I pick items from this vast warehouse that get shipped out to purchasers all over the country, and it's like, imagine like if you worked for a king or like a billionaire that owned everything. So as I get items that I need to pull, it's like, where's my ventriloquist dummy? Where's my wig stand? Where's my animatronic Darth Vader helmet? And I just run across the weirdest things. I actually pulled two, it's like urns for human ashes. I mean, I don't know where else you'd buy them other than like the funeral home, but like I you know, it's just random stuff, and it's really kind of interesting just to see what various people are purchasing and what they need.
So you're working at the Amazon warehouse. You're not a driver. You're like a warehouse manager type. That's pretty cool, Danny. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, I mean, just briefly, what do you do? I mean, so you're just like pulling inventory, you're fulfilling orders as they come in. And this is in what, Jefferson, Georgia? Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, briefly describe what I know you just started. You've only been there about a week or so, but what does your day entail? I mean, you get there super early, don't you?
Well, imagine like 5 football fields laid out like side by side. That's about how big this place is. And it's just aisles and aisles, like numbered in the hundreds. Okay. And in each of these aisles, from front to back, it's maybe listed from 100 to 500. And then each of these, like, you know, you're in aisle 300, you know, section 100. It goes from floor to ceiling alphabetically upwards from like A all the way to M. So I'm on like this automated machine that can like raise in the air, and I've got a little digital scanner, so it'll pull up. Oh, row 350, bin 250M. So like I noodle my little machine down that row, find that area, get up to it, and then it's like I have to find the item. Because in the bin there could be like multiple things. And so it's like, where's my bowling ball? Okay, cool, here it is. I scan the item. I have a little like cage cart behind my automated picker, and I put it in there, which then goes to the shipping facility, so where they package all this stuff up and they get it on a truck and they get it to people's homes.
Very, very cool. Now, does anything ever go missing, Danny? I'm just kidding. You're an honest guy, or they wouldn't have picked. Wasn't there quite a big screening process to get hired by Amazon? I mean, you had several interviews, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, one, I am not licensed to talk about Amazon as a company, so
yeah, NDA.
There's not a whole lot I can say. It's not so much the screening process, but once they hire you, everything you do is being watched.
I bet there's cameras everywhere.
Like, I mean, not in some terrible Big Brother way, but like you a has a code specific to you.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much before you do anything,
Mm-hmm.
before you go into certain areas, before you know, as you were doing your job, you're constantly screening your badge. So somewhere, I mean, there's on a computer where they could like literally like to the minute, you know, this is what you did. This is where you're at. This is what you were doing. And not to make it sound like, oh, like Big Brother is watching, but like I've worked so many places where, you know, there's the coworkers that are putting in 30% while you're putting in 100% and or 120%, and that sucks. What they're doing here is they're making sure that everybody is working, you know, and you know, pulling their fair share of the load. Now, meanwhile, it's like, dude, the health benefits are amazing off the chart. They start you off. I've got like 30 hours of unpaid time that I could take. Where if I was like, well, you know, hey man, you know, I want to take my next work day off entirely, I can do that. I don't have to call anybody. I can do it on my phone. They started me off like vacation hours, and there's 401k, and you know, the benefits and stuff. It's amazing. Everybody there has been, you know, very nice, very forthcoming, and very helpful. I'm glad to be there.
Well, you've always been a natural leader, Danny, and I'm very proud of you for finding that position. That's going to be you said you're making a lot more money a year than you were with your previous job, and you started this job right out of the gate. No lag time for Danny Cochran.
Nope. No,
really proud of you.
I mean, you know, there's another benefit where you get paid weekly, which means that there's less taken out in taxes, because if you get paid bi-weekly by any job, your income level shows higher, so the taxable rate is more. So here, I get paid every week, you know, and the paycheck I got, I mean, it was almost like 2 weeks of pay at my last job for people that I've worked with for like almost a decade. I mean, Amazon's got deep pockets. They can actually like pay.
Hell yeah, they do.
I'm really happy.
Good for you, man. And did you tell the folks, because I was sort of doing other things in the background, doing this solo is a little hard, that you only work 4 days a week?
That's correct. You're actually able to pick your schedule and your shift.
And you have a contract.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of like your conditions of employment. So I picked my shift. It's Wednesday through Saturday, and then I'm off 3 days in a row every single week.
Man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, Danny. You're off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
That's why I can call into the Nostalgic Podblast.
Hell, you could be a guest more frequently on Sundays.
That's right, man.
That's great. That's great. Hey, I want to ask you, before you called in, did you ever happen to see a movie called Black Christmas from 1974? It's a horror movie with Margot Kidder.
I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
I had never heard of it or seen it, and I saw it last night, and I recorded it today. Freaky movie. My God. It was like When a Stranger Calls. It's amazing. When a Stranger Calls ripped off this basic premise, where he's inside the house, get out!
Yeah.
Anyway. Boy, that was loud. Sorry, folks. Well, all right, cool. Well, what else you got going on, Dan? Let's talk about some...
Why have you on the phone? Because obviously, like, you know, with the current, like, COVID situation and stuff, I want to hear about the Godzilla versus King Kong movie.
Oh, my God.
I mean, no spoiler alerts, but, like, I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down, scale of 1 to 10. Like, what was the Chance Bartel's assessment of this film?
1 to 10, it's an 8, and I would give it thumbs way up because of the sound and the visuals and the action. However, Barry King, a new friend to the Nostalgic Podblast and host of BK on the Air, turned me on to a movie I had not seen. Maybe you did this one. King Kong Skull Island from 2017. Did you see that?
Oh, I own that. Oh, I own it.
Dude, that is a great movie. I didn't know about the cast. John Goodman, Brie Larson was in it with Samuel Jackson a year before Captain Marvel when they were acting together in that.
I mean, they they changed the size of King Kong significantly, and I realized at the time that they were doing that to set up this Godzilla versus King Kong.
You mean he's larger? Larger.
Oh yeah, he's
right.
way larger. But you couldn't have. I mean, if you took the Peter Jackson King Kong or the original RKO King Kong, even the god awful '70s King Kong, first appearance of Jessica Lange ever in movies.
I like that movie. Everyone hates that movie. It had its moments.
I've got a poster still that I got from that movie. But if you took the size of Godzilla as he has been portrayed in film, and you took the size of King Kong as he had been previously portrayed in film, it'd be like, Godzilla steps on King Kong, movie over. So in King Kong Skull Island, they significantly increased the size of King Kong, and I knew that. That's like they're setting up the battle. They're setting it up, man. I did hear, once again, listeners, no spoiler alert.
Audience members.
Audience, is Mecha Godzilla in this movie?
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, man.
Okay, well, maybe. You just stumbled on something accidentally. Yeah, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And the new one that's in theaters now. Yes.
A shared memory, back in the '70s on TBS, they were going to air, the original Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and I was super pumped, but I got bad grades in school, so I was put on TV restriction. It was it was like that Space 1999 episode, man, where I was at the cliffhanger with the creatures with the one eye, and it was the same thing. I got in trouble for bad grades at school, and so I was not able to see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. I was so disappointed, and I've never seen it to this day, just out of spite, hoping maybe this movie will, be a breath of fresh air.
God, my phones are blowing up. But I want to stay with you a little bit longer.
I just wanted to call in. Go NOSTALGIC PODBLAST, audience. Hit those like buttons. Hit that thumbs up. Keep watching. There's going to be great content. Keep watching the show.
I don't want to hang up on you quite just yet, but yes, I concur. Please keep watching the show. We're going to try to be more consistent because, look, there's other things out there, as I said at the top of this live broadcast. I mean, there's other things people can do. We want to do this weekly like we did in the beginning. And I know you want to see Al. I do too. Al's back. Al and I are a team that's not going to be dissolved. So Al will be back. And but
dude, you came up with the name for Al, the wise wizard.
He's the wizard. I couldn't do this without him.
Man. Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, I was going to say, about Skull Island, did I mention? Yeah, John Goodman's in it, and I mentioned Sam Jackson. Now, Loki is in it. Tom Hiddleston. Loki. Yep. So anyway, any fellow nerds out there will really like Kong Skull Island from 2017 if you haven't seen it. I enjoyed this a little bit better than Godzilla versus Kong. But you have to see Skull Island if you haven't before you see the one that's in the theater. Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, Danny, you enjoy your long weekend, man. You're off through Wednesday. Enjoy, and I will be in touch.
All right, man. Have a great show.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, later.
That was Danny Cochran, friend of the show and frequent guest host. And we're going to do some rotating around with Al, and we've got some big guests coming up. Now, I want to explain, we did tease that we were going to go on a field trip, Tom, Al, and I, to a museum, and we're going to shoot some video, and that didn't happen. So I want to apologize to you guys. Also, I want to apologize for not being as consistent as we should be. I care about each and every audience member. Grateful that you tune into our little program because there's a lot of other stuff you could be doing. I recognize that, and I respect that. So thank you for giving us a shot. Let's see here. We're going to have a special caller. It sucks doing this by myself. Al, I know you had to visit your brother today, but I'm dying without you. I'm dying. No. All right, we have another call coming in. Nostalgic Podblast, you're on the air. Who is this? Hold on. It's Debbie. Debbie Logan.
That's right. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. How's your weekend going? You watching any of the Masters this weekend, or is that not your cup of tea?
It's not really my cup of tea. Jeff and I are on our way to take a nice walk in this beautiful weather.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
listening to your show.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, I wanted to call in. We both our shots. We've been vaccinated, and I really miss going to the movies. So we wanted to call and, ask you what movies you'd like to see that are coming out soon. Maybe Black Widow?
Definitely.
Black Widow?
For those in the audience, Debbie is the wife of a good buddy I've known since 1983, Jeff Logan, and we usually go to the Marvel movies together at a great theater in East Cobb, the Georgia Theater Company. It's a great movie theater. It used to be a GMC theater back in the day when Jeff and I were in high school. But yeah, let's see Black Widow for sure.
I would love that.
And I'll wear my mask and everything,
Yeah. We would love that.
Goody. Goody. That'll be great. Yeah. Well, I hope you all have a nice walk. There is a movie I recommend that you may not have seen yet. Maybe, do you have HBO Max? Yes, you do. Jeff told me he got HBO Max.
Right.
Did you see Godzilla vs. Kong?
We have not seen it yet.
That's something you really should see in the theater, in my opinion.
Talking about it, it sounds good. Yeah, I think that is a theater-worthy movie.
Did you guys see Kong Skull Island?
We did see Kong Skull Island. Yeah, we enjoyed that.
I did too. God, it was so dramatic and shocking. People are getting picked off one by one by the creatures on the island.
Right.
Ugh, I don't want to give anything away, but it has been out for a few years now. But, my gosh, when that one guy got scooped up and his arm was ripped off, good Lord, that freaked me out.
Yeah. Have you been watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Absolutely. I'm all caught up.
Yeah, we love that. It's been good.
Do you like it better than WandaVision?
I don't. I liked WandaVision a lot, but I have to say my favorite show was The Watchmen. Did you see that?
I did not.
Oh, I loved that. That was fantastic.
My co-host Al Hardy turned me on to The Boys, which is an Amazon Prime original, which is going to have a spinoff soon. And have you seen The Boys?
We have not.
That I recommend, and that is a very unusual. It's an R-rated, kind of like Deadpool, but these guys are going rogue. These heroes, or one of the heroes. One of the heroes is kind of like a Hollywood production superhero. Yes, he has powers, but he really hams it up for the camera so everyone thinks he's a good guy, but really he's a jerk. And I'll just leave it at that. But I recommend it, but I think it's very adult, so know that going in.
Okay.
I think you can handle it though. Oh, Debbie, have you ever seen Black Christmas, an old horror movie from 1974? Or has Jeff?
No, I just heard you talking about it. I have not. I haven't seen it.
It wasn't terribly gory. It's very suspenseful, and it's running on cable right now. It was on today. It was on last night, and I highly recommend it. It is a very freaky movie.
All right, we'll check it out.
Cool. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk with you soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. That's Debbie Logan, everybody. So I'm going to show you some of the items here. I'm in one of my favorite rooms at my home, and this is where I have most of my prized collectibles, except I have some stuff in a safe, which is not here. But I'm going to show you some stuff, do a little show and tell in a little bit, since we're usually at Al or Tom's, mostly at Al's doing the show. We're doing this from my home now. Let's see here. And I was holding up some objects for the camera a moment ago, and one was, this is a laser gun from Space 1999, but this isn't an actual prop. This is a water pistol. But I love the design of this prop gun. It really fits your hand better. I wish it were real, It shoots, of course, a stun and a kill ray. It's got those two to choose from, just like Star Trek. But speaking of classic Star Trek, I've just gotten so burned out on it. I love it. I know that's blasphemy. If Barry King could hear me say that, he would be disappointed in me. But I'm a little burned out of the original Star Trek. I know all those episodes by heart. I like the movies, obviously. There's Star Trek 4 in the background, movie poster. I'm such a geek. The one with the whales. We have a call coming in. Nostalgic Podblast. Who are you and where are you calling from? Hey, Barry King of BK on the Air on fistfulofradio.com, 8:30 in the morning and 5 p.m. after our show, the Nostalgic Podblast. And, of course, he's on WBHF, FM and AM. How you doing?
Doing great. The better half and I are walking around in downtown Cartersville, downtown Ackworth today because it's a beautiful day today. The temperature's perfect, the sun is out, and we're at the Taste of Ackworth sampling food. I mean, that's the last thing I'd eat, but I love it, though. It's delicious.
We can't tell our listener buddy and friend Michael Hopkins about that since he's on a diet with the Quick Weight Loss Center, but that sounds pretty cool, man. I love Taste of Atlanta, so I imagine Taste of Ackworth is just as cool.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about Godzilla and Black Christmas earlier. I did want to say that I also think one of the reasons they had to make Godzilla and King Kong much bigger now is if they had stayed the size they were in the 70s, our new skyscrapers in the cities would be taller than them. So they had to make them bigger.
Yeah, Danny, you hear that? Are you listening out there still? He called in earlier. Obviously, you're referring to what Danny was saying about the size change, and I agree. It's logical. Makes sense.
Yeah, because we have much bigger buildings now in Tokyo and Hong Kong and New York and L.A. and all these cities. We have much bigger skyscrapers than we ever did in the early 70s.
Totally. Now, about Black Christmas, did you realize that Bob Clark, who directed it, also directed A Christmas Story?
Yes, Bob Clark, probably one of my most favorite. He's one of my favorite versatile directors. Black Christmas is an underrated, wonderful horror film, which I also consider a great horror film for Halloween. I also consider it a Christmas movie. I mean, it really is. It could be on a list of your Christmas films. It's not a happy one, but it's great. Bob Clark, I mean, directed Porky's.
I was going to mention that. Yes,
yeah,
Porky's.
He also directed, along with his buddy Alan Ormsby, they also made a movie called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and another horror film based on Ed Gein called Deranged.
Ooh, I've not seen it.
1974, which
Deranged.
is great. Bob Clark, what a great guy. Taken from us way too early due to a car wreck.
In 2007.
Still miss him. Great director.
And talk about versatility. You know, he's so versatile to be able to do horror and comedy and that nostalgic, wonderful Christmas story. I mean, that's just a classic. I think it's slightly overrated. And listen, people are going to hate me for saying this. I think Halloween, the original Halloween, it's a great horror movie, but I think it's slightly overrated. I do.
Well, thinking that Halloween is overrated and Christmas Story is overrated.
Slightly. I'm not saying they're not great. I'll shut up.
Right. Especially Christmas Story. I don't think Christmas Story was overrated for a long time because when A Christmas Story came out, it didn't make a lot of money. It kind of flopped, and it only gained cult status from airing on television so many years later. Now it's became a classic, but I think it became overrated later. It certainly wasn't when it first came out, and I saw it when it first came out, thought it was a great film.
It's just like Somewhere in Time, which bombed at the box office, but then when it hit HBO, I remember seeing it. That was one of the first movies I ever saw when Dad and Mom got cable TV, and Somewhere in Time was playing. It's with Christopher Reeve and the great Jane Seymour. It's a time travel love story that I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. I'm sure most people have seen it.
And by another underrated director, I can't remember how do you pronounce his last name. Is Jeannot Schwartz?
Yeah, Schwartznot or something.
The French director.
Yeah, he directed Supergirl. Yeah,
Supergirl, Jaws 2, and he also directed Santa Claus the movie, which I thought was another great Christmas movie that's kind of gotten forgotten over the years.
And Santa Claus the movies by Alexander Salkind and Ilya Salkind, who had done Superman the movie. So they love to say, title, the movie. Superman, the movie. Santa Claus, the movie.
The same a-holes that pissed off
Richard Donner.
That's right.
The director.
Yeah, exactly.
But they always booked big name talent, like they had, of course, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, and then in the Santa Claus movie, you had a whole cast of characters at the time that were hot, like Dudley Moore. I could go on and on. I mean, that sounds like kind of a lame actor, but at the time, he was red hot because of Arthur.
Right, and Black Christmas I saw that was your subject title in your description on Facebook today. Totally underrated film. If you've never seen Black Christmas, not the later one, not the remix, the original Black Christmas with Margot Kidder and Keira Knightley and directed by Bob Clark. Fantastic movie. And there are people. Bob Clark likes to use stock actors too. There's the old lady that's the head of the college dorm thing there in Black Christmas is also in Deranged, the movie called Deranged. He likes to use some of the same people in films. Yeah.
I've got to see Deranged. I'm making a note of that right now.
I got Deranged on DVD. You want to borrow it? Let me know.
Sure.
You can find it streaming somewhere, but It stars the old guy. Remember the old guy in Close Encounters, which is waiting for the aliens to come, and he's just whistling and looking at them. You know, his name is Robert Blossoms, the actor.
Yes.
He stars in Deranged as Ed, as Ezra Cobb. He's actually playing Ed Gein, the original serial killer that the movie's based on. But he's fantastic in it. He's great. He also plays the old man in Christine, that sells Arnie the car in the John Carpenter's Christine. Same actor. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
He's great.
Great minds.
Amazing Stories. He was in the one where the train was coming back to get him because he was about to die in the one Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories episode.
Was that the debut episode from 1985 that Spielberg directed?
That was the first one. Yeah, I think it was.
I watched it. And they had the Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which was weird.
Right.
They used the old intros with Alfred and they colorized them on NBC.
Yeah.
That was part of that hour, wasn't it? It was Amazing Stories and then Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I think it was in the same time, same evening,
Right.
if I recall.
Right.
And what was the other one they brought back? Erie, Indiana. Remember that show from the early 90s? I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I remember, but I never saw it, though. I never saw Erie, Indiana, but I heard it was pretty neat.
I liked it. Well, I'm glad you got out in the weather. I did earlier. I took a walk, and it's just gorgeous here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Perfect weather for the Masters in Augusta, and we had a little rain, so the pollen is washed off some. So good stuff.
Well, people say one of the best things you can do to help fight COVID is get out and get some vitamin D in your body, and the sunshine can give you that better than any supplement can.
Right
15 to 20
on.
minutes. You're not gonna burn 15 to 20 minutes. Get out and get some direct sunlight. Don't put on sunscreen if you're only gonna be out for 15 minutes or so. They say you can probably get 2,000 to 3,000 units of it just being in the sunshine, and that's directly. You don't have to try to absorb it from a pill, which you don't always absorb all of it from a capsule. So out in the sun is good. If you can do it, do it.
Great. Well, I don't want to take you away from time with the lovely Stacy, your wife, over there at the Taste of Ackworth. Let me ask you though, before you.
By the way, she says hi.
Hey, Stacy. What have you eaten so far at Taste of Ackworth?
I usually get one thing in these taste stuff because all of them are kind of the same. They're just local people from Taste of Ackworth, Taste of Marietta, Taste of Kennesaw, Taste of Cartersville, wherever in your work you have to live. They usually in your downtown area have a taste of something. And I just like going up and getting the ones where the places where they peel off the potato and make it a spiral and deep fry it into a giant long spiral fried piece of potato chip. I love that. That's what I got.
Well, man, that means a lot to me. You took the time to call in. I appreciate it. And I recommend your show strongly. BK on the Air, which airs on WBHF live, 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays. And then Fistful of Radio repeats it at 8:30 in the morning Saturday and 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. It's about to come on as we tape this live, or as we're on live. It'll be on in about 20 minutes or so on fistfulofradio.com. I'll try to jump off before 5 so people can tune into your show.
Always a pleasure, buddy. And we'll do lunch this week again. Let's do lunch.
That's great. I look forward to it, and we'll see you later. Bye, Stacy.
Okay, see you later, buddy.
All right, bye. God, the calls just keep on coming. Again, this is just a brief show. I'm not doing an actual nostalgic pod blast. I do want to play the trailer. This is going to be an experimental thing. I'm going to hold my phone, very primitive, up to the screen and show you a trailer for Black Christmas. Let me make sure the sound is up all the way. Let's see, where are you? Here we are. So here, we're going to try this. We're going to try this. So far, it's an epic fail. Oh, I see. Well, I'm going to do it this way. How about that? There. I hope y'all can see this. This is very primitive and silly. Oh, but where the heck are you? There's a terrible glare. That's Margot Kidder getting stabbed to death. In fact, when Margot Kidder is killed, there's all these Christmas carolers, these innocent children singing. It's really creepy. They filmed it. Oh, this glare is killing me, guys. Oh, God. This is so bad. You getting vertigo trying to watch this thing like I am? Look at that woman and a child in plastic. It's like Boy in the Plastic Bubble meets the babysitter. Dang it. This experiment is a failure trying to play a clip. He's in the house!
A high school girl's been murdered. Mr. Harrison's daughter is missing. And now at the house where she lives, the other girls are getting obscene phone calls. Yeah, what I've done is I tapped this phone so that when it rings, it'll ring at the station house too.
There was a little girl murdered over in the park tonight. Yes, I heard. Your phone's ringing. Hello? Hey, Mommy. Baby. Baby, darling. Who's there? I know you're there, baby. You have to be a good. Mommy.
Scram. It's group 140, terminal 55.
There's that kid in the plastic again. Sorry, kind of visual for anyone listening, but you get the drift. It's a psychological thriller.
Remember those idyllic scenes out of your childhood? Crisp winter nights, star bright, sleigh bells, crackling Yule logs, candlelight glistening off of shimmering Christmas trees, chestnuts roasting over open fires, carolers beneath snow-covered window ledges. Remember those. Remember them well. After Black Christmas, they'll never be the same again. Black Christmas, starring Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, Margot Kidder, and starring John Saxon as Lieutenant Fuller. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight.
There you have it. So that was kind of primitive. I apologize, guys. I can't wait for Al to be back. We can do this the right way. But for now, this will have to do. Otherwise, it's just going to be really brutal. But I'm experimenting. I'm getting some equipment too. So let's see. I got one more thing for you guys. We don't want this to be a... So, I'm going to show you guys some of my collectibles while I'm here, since I usually am at Al's place, his home studio. Speaking of Margot Kidder, there's a Superman the Movie lunchbox that Danny got me recently. We have a call. Nostalgic Podblast, what's your name and where you calling from?
It's Michael. I'm calling from Duluth.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Okay, I gotta turn this down. It's confusing me.
Okay.
So I saw you were playing that clip. I wonder if that's a movie that I saw years ago. Where are they in like a fraternity house or sorority house?
Exactly. Yes. Sorority house.
I have seen that before. I can't repeat the language for the man that obscene phone calls Margot Kidder, but
right.
It's pretty graphic.
Yeah, it's very graphic, and I'm recording it. Actually, I just finished recording because I watched it last night, and I said, oh my God, I hope this airs again. I want a copy of this. And I DVR'd it, and it's running all month on cable. But again, don't be confused with the 2019 version. That's junk. You want to see the 1974 version.
Yeah, no, I've actually seen that. And I noticed Olivia Hussey was a cast member in that movie. You know, Olivia was in a movie that we saw recently, Psycho 4.
I was going to mention that. Please continue. I loved it. I'd never seen it until you turned me on to that. We watched it in Al's Hardy Vision at his home movie theater. It was great.
She was interviewed, I don't know exactly which year, but she was talking about Tony Perkins, and apparently she said we had no idea that Tony Perkins was ill, but he was actually ill during the filming of that movie.
Ill in what way?
Oh, Tony Perkins?
Yeah.
Tony Perkins had the AIDS.
Oh, that kind of ill. Terminally ill. That's terrible.
Yeah, but she said that he was a trooper and that you'd never do that he was. They knew something was wrong, but they just didn't know what.
It's kind of like Freddie Mercury, you know? Like he just kept on keeping on. He didn't let anyone know he was sick until it was too late, until he withered away into basically a bunch of bones. It's terrible. But, and Dr. Fauci never cured it. He was on the commission to tackle AIDS, and he was a failure at that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's still around, but it's not a political issue.
No. We don't talk politics. It's not even a left-right issue. I just think the man is talking out of both sides of his mouth. That's all, and that's not politics.
He changed his mind, like we change, our blinkers on our cars.
Like a woman. Nothing against women. I love women, but you know the cliche. It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. So he's like a woman in that regard. But yeah. Then again, I say that about AIDS, and look at Magic Johnson. By the grace of God, he's still with us. Now, he had HIV positive, but thank God. I think if you've got the money, there's a cure for anything. That's just my opinion. If you've got the money, there's a cure. That's my opinion, just my opinion. There's nothing wrong with that either. So, Psycho 4, did you explain?
I thought that Psycho 4 to me was a great movie. It lets you see how he developed into the person he was for Tony Perkins' character, Norman Bates.
You see how he became a psycho. And it's the mother's fault, isn't it? We don't want to give too much away.
Well, absolutely. No, she tortured him, and she made him the way that he was.
She wanted him to be a little girl.
I mean, we don't want to give it away, but I mean, the things that she did to him, no mother should have done to a son. And you find out why he dressed up in women's clothes.
God.
It wasn't his idea.
No. And listen, it's fiction, right? This isn't real. I'm sure this happens in real life. I could probably pull up some stories about a similar thing. But this came out, in 1990 or 89? And it's very, very good. And Olivia, what an actor. And she's, well, at least at that time, actually today I looked her up. She looks fantastic. Just what a beautiful woman.
She was really great in that movie, and you love to hate her.
You do. And she actually, God, this is so creepy, but there's a scene where she's rolling around innocently with Norman Bates, and he gets aroused. It's so bizarre. And she's like, what? I felt that you... Oh, I want to give it away. It's just a bizarre scene.
You're giving my chance. You're going to give it away.
You would think it was a crap movie, Psycho 4, like Superman 4, but it's real, or The Omen 4. It's good, though. It's one of the few 4s or 3s or whatever that's not bad. Like, everyone hates The Godfather 3. Sometimes they make one sequel too many. Not the case with Psycho. Psycho 4 was a great end to that series. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's a prequel in that they flip back and forth between present time and in the past, and they wove it to me perfectly and let you see how he got to where he was, and then where he was in present day.
Right on. Well, I have it right here somewhere. Yeah. Thanks to your inspiration, I bought this Blu-ray 4-pack. It's all of the movies together, and I still haven't seen Psycho 3. I did see Psycho 2 back in the day. It was a Showtime original with Meg Tilly. So I've seen one, of course, the classic Hitchcock Psycho from 1960, but I'd never seen part 4, thanks to you. I've corrected that, but I've not seen 3, and Anthony Hopkins directed Psycho 3. Is Psycho 3 any good?
I've got it. If you or you've got it.
Got it right here on Blu-ray.
On your computer, but 3 is good. It's got I think her name is Diana Scarwood. She starred in Mommy Dearest as well. And it's a really well done movie.
Wait, who was she in Mommy Dearest? Was she Christina, or was she like the maid?
Christina in her teenage years.
Yes. I'm not one of your fans. Remember that?
And she also morphed into adult in that movie. She kind of stretched it. So from the time she was a teenager to the time that she was a young adult, she was Christina Crawford.
I love Mommy Dearest. You know, that's a cult classic. I went to the Fox Theater to see that, and they were playing the original Little Women, and then Mommy Dearest. It was a Joan Crawford night. I didn't realize the big gay following of Mommy Dearest. When I went with Samantha Livingston. Like, we were the only straight people there. Nothing wrong with alternative lifestyle. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, I was just like, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, like, you know, there was so much lisping, you would think there's a bunch of snakes in that place. Just a joke. Well, oh, you didn't laugh. Okay. Well.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it was good. It was good. I liked it. But I had no idea that that movie had such a following in the gay community till I went that night. I always liked Mommy Dearest. It ran endlessly on HBO. I've got the movie trailer on film somewhere. But, man, what a great underrated movie. Faye Dunaway knocked it out of the park.
She did, but she has kind of if you've seen interviews with her about that movie, and she's done very little interviews when it comes to Mommy Dearest. She'll talk about other movies, but if you get on YouTube, she has a love-hate relationship with that movie. There's speculation that, and I think even it's documented that Christina Crawford, she sold the rights to the movie to Paramount, but Christina herself wasn't all that happy the way that they took the film direction, and so to quote Faye Dunaway, she said only God and Joan Crawford know exactly what happened in actuality. So they kind of took liberty with basing it on the book, and then they kind of amplified some things, because Christina herself, if you look at some articles, she didn't think that Paramount really portrayed it accurately.
Well, sure, it was her adopted daughter's...
Get audience in there, so they kind of embellished on some of the things that happened.
Absolutely. It was her adopted daughter's POV, point of view. Speaking of point of view, I'm holding up for the camera a big head of the Amazing Spider-Man. It's a piggy bank. Ceramic. Anyway, looks kind of cool. Anyway, I digress.
Do we have any coins in the Spider-Man in Spidey?
No, they're all in my pinball machines. I use them like piggy banks, and gosh, I've got quarter after quarter after... I just keep plugging them up with quarters. I need to change them out pretty soon and roll them up into some quarter rolls. I've got an Indiana Jones, the Pinball Adventure pinball machine prototype. It was like one of the very first ones made. It has real steel where they changed it to cheap plastic for the later models they put in arcades. And Indiana Jones, the Pinball Adventure, incidentally, is or was at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. There's an Indiana Jones roller coaster ride. And, you know, there's like a gift shop. And in the gift shop, you could play the pinball machine. And they had it in a special wood case so the machine wouldn't get messed up by the masses. But I have that machine. It's got 3 video game modes in it. It's got like a shell game. It's got a shoot 'em up, because instead of, you know how you pull the plunger to release the ball in a standard pinball machine, like you pull the thing and releases the ball. This has a gun, like a gun handle, and you fire the gun and it goes pshh, and that's how you play. And it's got 6-ball multi-ball in it. It's a great pinball machine. And I also have Cyclone from 1988. Oh, Indy was built in 1993, incidentally, by Williams, the Williams Corporation. No relation to Tom Williams. And it's a great, great game. And Cyclone is based on an amusement park. And it's got like these great sound effects of like a heckler. You know, the hecklers, you pay your money, you take your chances. And a band called Mr. Bungle sampled some of the sound effects and voices from that game. And the cool thing about Indiana Jones is it has actual original dialogue from actors that are in Indiana Jones. Some of the minor actors, like the guy who played Salah, he's got some lines, you know, that he recorded just for the pinball game. It's got Harrison Ford's voice. Now, these days, with pinball machines like the Walking Dead pinball machine by Stern, they don't have the actors' voices, and it was such a disappointment. And of course, it's because of lawyers and greed. But you seldom find new pinball machines that have actors' voices when it's based on a movie, and that's disappointing. But Indiana Jones, my Indy, has all the voices. It has Willie, the future Mrs. Steven Spielberg, when she shot Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. I hate the water, and I hate you. And other sounds. Anyway.
Well, I actually got to ride the Indiana Jones ride that Disneyland Paris has, and that's a fascinating ride.
Wow.
Over in Paris, they have loop-de-loops in it, and then they also have, at least I believe they do, and then it actually goes under the ground and out to an island. They have kind of a lagoon out next to the main part of the ride, and then you circle around on the island for a couple of seconds, and then you go back underneath the ground and come back onto the mainland. It's pretty cool.
Now you're talking Paris, France? You're not talking Paris and Las Vegas, Nevada.
Paris,
okay.
France.
Wow. When did you go out there?
1999.
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
I have not been to Hawaii. That is definitely on my list of things I want to do.
I recommend Kauai, which is known as the Garden Isle, because you'll see so many movie locations. Speaking of Indiana Jones, the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the pygmies are after him, he's like, start the engines! Start the engines! And they're chasing him. That's all like on this little river, and you can take a ferry, and it goes to a place called Fern Grotto, which is a place, it's a cave, and it's got all these giant, like, plants, ferns, growing in there from the ceiling, like stalactites or stalagmites, which is it? Anyway, inside this cave, and when they had a big hurricane in 1992, a lot of that got sheared away. But I went with Sam in 1999. I've been to Hawaii 3 times. So around that same time you're in Paris, I went there. And they also shot Jurassic Park. When you see the waterfalls at the beginning of the first Jurassic Park, that's Kauai, Hawaii. And they've shot a lot of... and our Godzilla versus Kong, which is in theaters now, and Kong Skull Island, filmed there as well. Anyway, so I highly recommend it if you can put together a budget.
Well, I'm definitely, when they clear it up, I understand right now they have really tight restrictions, kind of like Australia. If I'm not mistaken, you have to be quarantined for 2 weeks before you can venture out.
Are you serious? Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact I know that they're doing that in Australia because I have a friend that I follow on YouTube that's a flight attendant, and she and her husband wanted to go so badly out to Australia. They did the 2-week quarantine, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that Hawaii was making that requirement.
Oh, dear. Well, they always...
going on a vacation to Hawaii, and you have to have 2 weeks that you eat up, staying at a hotel first, and then you can venture out.
They've always been picky about agriculture. Like, people want to take pineapples home, and there's a big questionnaire you have to fill out, and they do a big inspection, and that's been going on for years. It's just part of the rules, as it were. Here, I'm going to play some background music while you talk. I'm so glad you called in, Michael.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, no, you're clear, and it's a clear picture. I'm sitting here looking at my computer screen. I texted you a picture of what you look like, so it's clear. It's a good broadcast.
Thank you. I'm talking kind of loud without a mic. I'm getting a mic. But so if I talk a little loud, audience members, I'm sorry. I'm trying to compensate for the lack of a mic, and maybe I'm overcompensating. So that's good to know that it sounds okay. Could you hear my clips okay, or that probably sounds pretty bad? Can you hear that?
No, I can I could hear the clips.
Well, I don't want to.
When I started to call in, I waited until the clip was over before I called in, and that's when it clicked. I went, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, and I did live and learn. I think I can do a better job showing clips. I'm going to work on it, but because I was really struggling at first trying to hold that phone up to the lens where you could see it, and even then there was a terrible glare. But anyway,
it's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve. That's right. So I want to ask you, what movies have you seen? I know we go to movies sometimes. You, me, and Al. And sometimes you and me, and what movies have you seen that I have not been with you at the theater lately? Is there anything, or
I haven't been? And if I haven't been with you and Al, I have not been.
Okay. Well, as you saw, it's very safe, especially at Studio Movie Grill in Duluth and Marietta. They've got the social distancing down pat. I see them sterilizing constantly, and same with that theater I was at with Barry King and his wife Stacy when we saw Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's I forget the name of that theater, CG something, but the one in Ackworth, man, they were spraying like this freestyle Coke machines like crazy. I mean, like almost excessively so. But that was a good thing to see for anyone out there that's leery and maybe has a low immune system that has not been immunized yet, that's concerned. So
yeah, I could
have no fear.
I could back you up there. They're clean in these theaters. They're spotless on the seats. Just in general, I have not seen something that concerned me.
That's right. Well, are you watching any of the Masters this weekend?
I'm sitting here looking at them putting away right now. There's a ball that not going to quite make it to the hole.
I forget his name, the Japanese gentleman, is he still the leader? I know he was down a stroke last time I checked.
Matsumaya.
Gesundheit.
No, I mean, I think that's his name.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I know. I can't pronounce it.
I don't think he's up right now. I can't see the...
That's cool. No worries. This is going to be dated information in a matter of moments anyway.
Yeah,
as soon as I sign off.
Oh no, it looks like he's. Oh no, he is. He's now putting for the birdie.
Oh man, oh, I'm missing it. That's okay. I love the Japanese culture. I really do. I want to go to Japan one day. I've never been there. Always wanted to. I've always admired their film, and there's this wonderful Japanese restaurant I love called Kobe Steaks. It closed in Sandy Springs. Do you remember Kobe Steaks at the Prado?
I very much do. In the Prado, correct?
In the Prado, yes. And I would go almost every month. Oh, I love that place. And the landlord tried to...
That was Jolly Kobe Bakery, which is not related. But don't you remember that? I know you went and ate there.
Certainly.
Did you?
Certainly, I did. Yeah. For those listening outside of Georgia, this will mean nothing to you unless you're in Nashville. There still is a Kobe Steaks in Nashville, Tennessee. I ate there the last time I was in Nashville. God, I was back in 2015. Hope it's still around. I hope they survived COVID and the lockdowns and the shutdowns, because it's just wonderful food. It's better than a Benihana or a typical hibachi. They really do give you a lot for your money. It's an experience. Kobe Steaks with a K, like Kobe beef. It's the best. Sound like an endorsement.
Yeah, well, I was sorry to see Jolly Kobe, the bakery, go, because they intended on being closed just a few months and expanding to where they could serve more than just basic stuff. And then apparently they just never recovered from it, because it took, I think, over a year for them to complete the construction on their expansion. And they just never, I don't think, financially were able to recover. And the next thing you knew, overnight, gone.
Gone. Gone. It's terrible. A terrible thing. And I know the backstory about Kobe, the restaurant, is the landlord jacked up the rent. And I hate it when they do that. I had a great cigar shop and liquor store near me years ago. Same thing. The landlord got greedy, increased the rent, and so they said, see ya, and it's been an empty box ever since. Same thing with Fuddrucker Hamburgers, right near Truist Park. I can't stand that name, Truist Park. What a failure of a rebranding effort. But at Truist Park, There was a Fuddruckers on Windy Hill Road. Same thing. Landlord says, "Oh, we got the Braves now. We got the Braves now. No, you got to pay more rent." And they said, "Screw you. We're out of here." And nothing has been in its place, and it's been over a year now. But actually, right before COVID, I think Fuddruckers told them to take a hike. And then the one over at Town Center Mall, the Fuddruckers there closed. And they assured me, "Oh, we're not going to close." After the one...
Gwinnett closed.
I liked it. It's a nice...
Out near Gwinnett Place, it's gone. And Houston's
Windy Hill.
on Lenox Road, they had bricks from the Lowe's Grand in there with a plaque on it, so the people eating in the restaurant could see that the bricks were taken when they tore Lowe's down to build the Georgia Pacific headquarters.
Wow.
And they upped the rent on that place and forced them out.
When will these people ever learn?
Apparently not. The corporations, they're like, "Well, we're gonna do it." Dante's down the hatch. Corporate greed. They raised the taxes. They wanted that land of his, and he wouldn't sell, and they finally just outpriced him for taxes to where there was no way he could be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he could not have paid those taxes.
Man, oh man. Now, you got me thinking about Lenox Square of the past. What about Tower Records? I love Tower Records like they have in Hollywood.
That was my favorite pastime, Chance. I would go into the Around Lenox Shopping Center, which was their original location, because as you know, later on they relocated to Piedmont and Peachtree. But in the original location, they were there at the Around Lenox Shopping Center, and I could spend hours in there combing over CDs, and they had back when they had laser discs, you could get some imports that were like Song of the South. That Disney didn't anticipate that the Japanese would allow the imports of them, and they ended up having to put a kibosh on the imports of the laser disc because they were trying not to have Song of the South released anywhere in the United States.
Oh, good grief. That movie is not racist.
For years, you could get laser discs of Song of the South at Tower Records.
Al Hardy, our own Al Hardy, has one. He has a laserdisc copy of Song of the South and a bunch of movie posters he sells on eBay from time to time. Song of the South. It's a classic.
But that was definitely what you call shopping therapy. You could go in for hours, and even if you didn't buy anything or buy much, it would, at least for me, it was a way to wind down and just sit there and spend an hour or so looking at all, because they had great imports. You could sometimes get what you wanted and not even have to have anybody order it for you.
They really picked up the slack when Turtles Records and Tapes went under. They really did. And I loved Media Play. We're getting nostalgic here, guys. Now, on a national level, I'm sure there are Media Plays in other markets. If anyone's watching outside of Atlanta, they might be bored to tears. But Media Play was great. You walk in, they had popcorn for you for free. It smelled like popcorn, like a movie theater. And they had all sorts of goodies, books, DVDs, movies. There were a lot of public appearances from authors signing books. And you had like radio talent, like our friend Jim Gossett. He was there signing Best of the Kimmer Show CDs they used to produce in the WGST radio days. It was great. I mean, I miss Media Play.
In Media Play, there was a location when I first moved to Duluth 16 years ago. There was one actually down in that row where the Studio Movie Grill is on Venture Drive that you and me and Al go to. There was a Media Play right there, and now it's I can't think of the name of the place, but it's some retail place took it over.
Oh, okay. Not a Costco. No.
It's not a Costco. It's in the opposite direction. It's up there, bumped up against. I go in there, this retail place, all the time, and I can't think of what it's called. And
Al Hardy would know. Al Hardy would know.
But I just, it's one of those things. But it's right there on bumping up against Steve Reynolds as you go by.
Well, they're good to know. Good to know.
It's like a Big Lots, but it's not Big Lots.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. One. Whatever it is, It's nothing compared to media play. Do you remember some nostalgic candies I want to just touch on? Do you remember the Marathon bar from when we were kids?
I do, and I remember the $100,000 bar, and they changed it to $100,000. I think that one's still in production.
Yes.
But the Marathon bar, I mean, it had all that wonderful caramel, and you had to make sure you didn't leave that sitting too long because it could actually end up in a gooey mess if it got too warm or too much time.
Hello? Are you there, Michael? Yes, I had a call coming in on the other line, but I'm not going to take it. Continue, please.
And, you know, there was also, do you remember the milkshake, the candy bar milkshake?
Yes, I do. But the Marathon bar, before you get on milkshake, I just want to say it was really caramel and chocolate, and it was kind of crisscrossed, and it was gooey and great, and it was only around for a short time, like in the 1970s. But, yeah, tell us about milkshake.
I remember it.
Huh? You don't?
I definitely remember
Oh, you do?
eating it.
That's what I thought you said. Good. Well, tell us about milkshake, if you don't mind.
You know, other than it was called milkshake and it was chocolate, anything chocolate's going to reel me in.
I don't want to be a bad influence. You're on a diet right now, sir. I shouldn't even brought up candy.
The chocolate is forbidden. I've already had to clean my closet out. I gave all my protein bars that were dark chocolate peanut butter and almond to my cousins so that they're not in my possession any longer.
Yeah, well, good for you. You're proactive. You're serious about this diet.
I know I could be tempted, but if it's not in my residence, I know so.
Well, I have a call. Can I take this call? If it disconnects, call me right back. All right, hang on. Nostalgic Podblast, who are you and where are you calling from? Oh, hang on a second. Danny, what's up?
I'm sitting here with my lovely and amazing wife, and I was trying to ask her about what her favorite Marvel movie was.
Right?
And I want to put her on the phone.
Hey, Carrie.
Do it.
Hey, Sid.
Hello. What you got?
Put the phone up to the ear.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was on speaker, but it's not. I gotta see Captain America because I love him.
The original one? The first Avenger?
Yeah.
I did too.
I think the original one.
I could relate to him because, like, Steve Rogers was like a short, weakling wimp like me before he got injected and transformed into a fighting machine. So,
Right.
I really like that character too in that movie, and I love the end where he's thawed out after being frozen for decades, and he just stumbles into Times Square, and he's just bewildered. You know, that was really a cool scene.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Wonder Woman?
I did. I saw it with Al Hardy.
Did you like it? I really liked it.
I like parts of it. It was nowhere as good as the last one that was set in World War I. I just thought that was a better story.
I prefer the first one too.
Well, what did you like about Wonder Woman 84? Because it's getting trashed by people.
So Daniel told me it was getting really terrible reviews. I thought it was. I'm trying to think of how to say it. I kind of like the storyline, like where it went with the. I guess not. It was kind of like mind control, but I guess it's hard to say it was mind control because people were actively making their own wishes. I thought that was just kind of a neat sort of take on, you know, you think you can get everything you want, and then basically there's things that nothing comes without a cost.
Well, I thought
that was kind of a cool storyline.
I thought it was strange how they brought back Steve, her love interest. That was weird to me.
Yeah, I wasn't that particularly attached to them as a couple, so I wasn't terribly invested in that. I probably should have been, because clearly that was a huge deal, but I wasn't terribly interested in that love.
Well, I love the cameo at the end.
Yeah, that was fun.
The cameo was cool at the end. I'm not going to give it away, but I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it did have moments. I liked the mall scene towards the beginning. I thought that was cool. The cool action scene in the 1980s. They got the 80s down pat. I got to say something positive. The set direction was just spot on in terms of the 80s. If you lived in the 80s, and you're younger than Danny and I, so you probably barely remember the 80s, but they did a fantastic job recreating that, and the music by Hans Zimmer was good. So I got to give props to those elements of the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did do a good job. I think it's kind of torn. I probably still like the first one better, but I think I had heard what terrible reviews it had gotten, so I wasn't expecting a whole lot. So that probably made it easier to enjoy, honestly.
Yes. That whole thing with Steve Trevor was so bizarre, though, because it's like she's basically raping this guy. If you haven't seen it, I mean, she basically puts Steve into the body of a stranger. I'll have to leave it at that because I don't want to give anything away. It's just, that was strange.
Yeah. That was strange, yeah. But anyway. But yeah, I think I'll stick with Captain America.
All right.
I think somewhere on the internet, they might be bringing him back. I don't know, for like a campaign.
And Carrie and I, like when there was the Civil War movie, I was like on like Team Iron Man.
Team Cap. Oh, I'm always Team Cap. I'll always be Team Cap.
So, Carrie, what do you think of the new Captain America and Winter Soldier?
Are you talking about the TV show?
Yeah.
It's not Captain America and Winter Soldier. What is it? It's
Well, there's the new Captain America and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah. So far it's good. I think we're we've only seen like 2 episodes, but I think it's pretty good so far.
I love it.
Have you seen it?
I'm all caught up. And I really like that they brought back a certain character, a blonde love interest of Steve Rogers from the movies. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, in the latest episode.
Yeah, I'm still behind on it now, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, not the one from the end of Endgame. There was another woman that was interested in Steve. I'm not saying it was mutual, but they brought her back, and it's a good character they brought back, and the action is great. You know, people complained about WandaVision, at least in the initial few episodes, saying, where's the action? What the hell's going on here? It's like a black and white sitcom. But they made up for it with this movie, because it's been action from the get-go, constantly.
Yeah, I think with WandaVision, it wasn't like the lack of action. I think I was a little
confused about what was going on.
Yeah, there was an established storyline until like episode 3 or something.
Yeah, they want
it all tied in, and I did end up enjoying that one too.
I loved it.
The first couple of episodes, I ended up loving it, but you have to kind of, I guess, wait for the story to develop.
And what's
like episode 3.
What's weird about Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda, is that in real life she's the younger sister of the Olsen twins.
I know. You know what's stupid? I didn't know that. Daniel's the one that told me that. I had no idea, honestly.
Well, they look a lot alike, and so do like her brothers. Like they all have a similar look in the eyes, but I think of the Olsen twins as being little kids from that sitcom, Full House. Yeah, that's right. I can't conceive of her being the young. I always think of her as the older sister of the Olsen twins. Anyway, but cool. Well, what else you guys got going on? You enjoying Danny's company since he's off today?
Yeah, we are. Honestly, like the previous caller said, it's beautiful. Once you get done with the show, you should go enjoy it. We're hanging out on the deck right now. We're gonna grill some salmon later. I took the dog on a walk. So just enjoying the fact that it has finally stopped raining and being cloudy and gross for a day.
Amen. I was out earlier. I agree. It's a beautiful day, and I think I will do that. I'll take another walk before the sun goes down after I wrap here, which will be shortly. But man, always nice to hear from you guys, and I will see you shortly when Danny gets his latest batch of comic books that are graded, which are on the way.
It's supposed to be here on Friday. It's supposed to come in Friday, so yeah, they'll be here pretty soon.
If they're coming Friday, Danny, on the air, what do you think? You think I should come up Saturday? Or we'll talk offline?
Well, I'm working on Saturday, but
I know.
Sunday.
I meant Saturday night. Sunday's better? Okay. You think you'll be able to wait until Sunday to open that box and see what grades you got for those key comics?
Dude, I will totally wait. Okay. So many of my subscribers to my YouTube comic book channel, The Kraken's Lair.
With a K.
Joy.
Spell that.
Yeah.
Please. Spell that.
With a K.
KRAKENSLAIR on YouTube.
Yes.
Or is it Kraken's Lair Comics?
Yes. And so many of my subscribers commented on how much they enjoyed the dynamic of the both of us doing that live unboxing, that even though I have to sit on the books and not look at them, I will wait.
You're the man.
Wait.
You are the man. We'll have a good time, my friend.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like you said in the last video, it's like Christmas Day. So I'm glad to be able to share that. The content that you add is brilliant. So if I have to like just sit on the box staring at it longingly for a couple of days, I can do that.
Well, I'll make it worth your while. We'll have a party.
All right, man.
We'll see you soon, here.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right. Love you both. Talk to you later.
Love you.
Bye. That's great. That's Danny and his lovely wife, Carrie. Just a second. Is this live or is this Memorex? Nostalgic Podblast. Hey, hang on. How you doing? How you doing? How are you?
Listen, I give me a. Like I've got to find out what that place is that's in place of Media Play. It's Ollie's.
Oh, cool. You're going to be mad at me. Can I take this call that's coming in?
Yeah, sure you can.
I'll text you. Bye. Nostalgia. God dang it. Gosh darn it. I just missed the call. It's okay. Michael, if you're watching, call back. Meantime, I'm going to show off some of my stuff. Gosh, this is completely self-serving, is it not? I'm sorry. I know a lot of you want to see Al. A lot of you want to see Tom. I get it. If you're watching me, thanks for that. I know I'm an annoying little schmuck, but I'm going to show you some stuff I got here in my vast haul of items. Hang on, I'm going to text Michael. Tell him the line's clear. Or, what? Just a sec. Hey, Michael!
Hey, I also went ahead and looked up the ingredients for the milkshake candy bar because you were talking about that. Do you want me to go ahead and give you the rundown of what was in it?
Absolutely.
Okay, it says here that milkshake had caramel nougat, except that the nougat was malted. I can't really understand what exactly that means, but
you mean like Whoppers? That's malted?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. Is other than it's a form, I thought, of chocolate.
Can I put you on hold? I'm sorry. God darn it. Are you there? What in the heck is going on with these phones? Nostalgic Podblast. Hello?
Dad?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. Someone keeps trying to call in, and I just missed the call, and I'm not trying to be rude to you, and, you know...
Oh, no, you need to take other callers.
Well, okay, thanks for understanding. I hope you didn't think I was being a jerk.
I have, but anyway, so it was made by the Hollywood company, which eventually got bought out, long story short, by Hershey's. But they discontinued the bar, as you know, but... it was out for a number of years. And the Marathon bar, I see an empty wrapper. I forgot about this. Do you remember there was a ruler? If you turned it over, there was a ruler on the Marathon bar.
I do. I remember that. It was a cool little gimmick they had.
Yeah. Well, they wanted you to see what you were getting for your money, a long piece of candy.
Oh, how cool is that? I'm holding up for the camera on our Facebook live feed, which will be on YouTube shortly. Some movies like Oh God. You remember the movie Oh God with George Burns and
John Denver
and Terry Garr?
My favorite people.
Long out of print. I scored this on DVD not too long ago, but it's not been released on Blu-ray, and you don't see that movie much anymore. At least I don't. I liked it.
Well, they also came out with, I believe, Oh God 2
and 3,
and I believe Oh God You Devil.
Yes.
I think there was a third installment.
Wasn't Bill Cosby involved in it? Or no, I'm thinking of Max Devlin. Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
At least I'm pretty sure there were 3 installments on that movie.
There were, and I've only seen the first 2. Now, do you remember a movie called Talk Radio, which was by Oliver Stone?
Okay, was that with Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton?
No. This was it was a take on what I assume is Howard Stern. And it was a fictional story about a shock jock who's terrorized by someone. And Moby and Mitchell in the Morning had a speaking role in that movie. Did you know that? Moby.
No.
Yeah, he did. Moby in the Morning. He's a radio legend.
He is. I hope he's doing well. You haven't heard from him lately.
No, he'll be back. He's a radio god in these parts. Actually, across the country too, in the Dallas market and a lot of other places in Tennessee. And he had a speaking role in that movie, Talk Radio. And it's another rare movie. You can't find it, but it's shocking. There's a scene in it. It reminds me of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane with the rat.
Oh, that's a classic scene right there.
They do something similar where he gets a package from a listener, and I'll just leave it at that. Pretty horrible little scene. And there's Nighthawks I'm holding up. Remember that with Sly Stallone and Rutger Hauer? Lindsay Wagner was in it as Sly's wife in the movie. Great suspenseful film, underrated. Nighthawks. Go rent it. This is the movie suggestions for everybody.
Well, don't you remember the Rambo series that Sylvester Stallone had?
Absolutely, brother. Danny, who just called, had a First Blood knife from 1985. It was like God, it would have made OJ, have an erection. It was just like this huge knife, just like the one that was used in Rambo, the sequel to First Blood from 1985.
Well, I remember first, I think it was Rambo 2. I went to Cumberland Mall, I think up on Acres Hill. No, actually Acres Mill Road. They used to have theaters. I don't know if they're still in there or not. And I went and saw
No, they're gone.
Rambo.
Acres Mill, they're gone. That was a GMC theater, and it's long gone. Down the street, they have an AMC Parkway Point 15, but in Acres Mill itself, that's gone. That was a GMC theater.
I also had a fond memory
General
of
Cinema.
seeing Fast Times at Ridgemont High there.
What a great film, man. And there's a lot of extra scenes. Like when it came on TV, they had to cut so much out for obvious reasons because it was R-rated material that they added a lot of outtakes. And TBS, up until I think 10 or 15 years ago, would air that rare TV version. Same thing with National Lampoon's Vacation. You got to find these. I'm sure there's bootlegs out there somewhere on eBay or whatever. But the TV versions are so interesting, and I love the way they censored it. The obvious, where they wouldn't just mute or bleep the curse word. They would have the actors come back and re-record the dialogue, and it was a trip. It's almost as funny hearing, how they censored these movies. But yeah, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, what a great movie. Phoebe Cates, she was one of the fantasy goddesses of the 80s, was she not? On screen?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That scene by the pool, yeah.
Brother.
Every young man knows about that scene.
It was like Heather Thomas for me also from Zapped and The Fall Guy. I just thought she was just the best looking female. Thought her body was just incredible. Anyway, and same with Phoebe Cates. They both, like, if I had to choose, if I were like king for a day and for some reason they wanted me, which they never would, and I had to flip a coin, I literally had to flip a coin because I could not pick between Phoebe Cates and she they both married kind of like dopey guys, not really dopey. Like Heather Thomas married an entertainment attorney, so he's loaded. So she went for the money. That's why you don't see her acting much anymore. And then Phoebe Cates, of course, married, as you know, from. Hey, hello. Want to explain? I want to first of all thank all of my wonderful callers today. Thanks for tuning in. My laptop was not plugged in. It was fully charged. Hello, am I live? Is this live? Hello. Going to do a quick edit here. I just want to explain what happened with the laptop. Right in the middle of the call from Michael Hopkins, the power went out my laptop because I had it fully charged, but it wasn't plugged in. Learning curve, stupid me. So sorry about that. Want to thank each and every caller. This was a lot of fun. And Al, hopefully we'll be back next week. Tom Williams is going to be out of town working. He's working the next several weeks. So it's looking like it'll be just Al and I next week in his wonderful studio. hopefully April 18th. And I have a wonderful topic. I think you'll dig. It's something we've not covered. Really excited about it. But just want to explain what happened. Thanks to all the callers, and we will see you next time. Get out there and enjoy the wonderful weather if you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area. It's just gorgeous. See you next time, next week, on the Nostalgic Pod Blast with Al Hardy and Chance Bartels. Thanks again to all callers. Bye.